I'm Rachel. This is my sweet mate Hannah. Welcome to Sweet C. Today I'll be explaining how diabetes type 2 works to Hannah. Hannah, do you know anything about diabetes?
Absolutely nothing at all.
Okay. Alright, so here we go. So type 2 diabetes, there's another type 1, and we won't get into that very much today. But type 1 is where you're born with insulin resistance. So like from the get-go, your insulin doesn't work. And we'll talk about why insulin is important in a minute.
Okay.
So that's type 1 diabetes. What we're going to focus on today is type 2 diabetes, which is when most of the time you get so obese that you're... That's not funny. You get... Okay, you get very obese and the fat builds up and your body eventually stops producing insulin.
Okay.
So
you're born with type 1 and you develop type 2.
Right. Okay, so with type 2, let's just think about your pancreas is what makes insulin, right? And in a normal person, when you eat food, the food is broken down into a sugar called glucose, okay? And then the glucose is floating through your blood, and then when you need energy, your muscle cells need to be unlocked, okay? So the insulin is basically the key that unlocks these muscle cells. So the pancreas, there we go. So the pancreas, when it notices like, oh, there's food, it's been broken down into glucose, the glucose is floating through your blood, the pancreas says, uh-oh, I need to make insulin to unlock the door of the cells so that the glucose can get in and energize you. So your pancreas makes insulin. Well, what happens in diabetes is your insulin goes into your blood and it gets to those muscle cells and it's like, I need to unlock the door. But the door, the key, is blocked from the fat globules and the fat buildup. So then the insulin can't work.
Okay.
But your pancreas doesn't know that. So your pancreas says, uh-oh, we need more insulin. It's not working. So it just goes on like this like hyperdrive of insulin production. And then you have like all this glucose that isn't getting used for energy and all this insulin. And you just have this like floating in your blood. And your body's like, oh, we have too much sugar in our blood. So then you're peeing all the time, which makes you hungry.
Okay.
And then you can eventually start losing weight or gaining weight depending on how your body responds to not having enough energy. So in addition to like frequent urination, you can also feel very lightheaded because your blood sugar is dropping.
So is this the type of diabetes where you have to eat sugar sometimes?
Yeah. Because what happens is because your body isn't getting this energy, its blood sugar is dropping.
Okay.
So then you have to like eat a little bit to like pick yourself back up.
Okay.
So do we understand type 2 diabetes?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So my dog had diabetes and we had to give her insulin shots. But
Okay.
that would be type 1, right? Because in type 2, so in type 1 you don't have insulin, right?
Right.
And in type 2, you do have insulin, you just have too much and it doesn't work. So adding more insulin to that situation would not help.
Well, sometimes though what happens is with the type 2 diabetes, because your pancreas is constantly making the insulin, it hits a point, type 2 diabetes develops to a point where your pancreas just becomes worn out and then it doesn't make any insulin at all.
Okay.
Which you then would need insulin shots.
Okay.
But you do also need insulin shots in type 1 because type 1, like, you don't ever make insulin.
Okay.
Type 2, it just kind of like wears out.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us as I turn off this thing. Okay.